Hello everyone, welcome to MediaNama. In June this year, the Department of Telecommunications released a draft amendment to the cybersecurity rules under the Telecom Act. These rules give directions for how telecom companies must ensure that their networks are safe from cybersecurity threats. The draft amendment introduces a new entity category that has to comply with the cybersecurity requirements. These entities are called Telecommunications Identifier User Entity, TIUE. It defines them as entities that use telecommunication identifiers to identify users and deliver services. So think of it this way, everything from a service where you communicate with other users like WhatsApp, or something that allows you to create an account using a mobile number to get food delivered to your home like Swiggy or Zomato, or where you can make UPI transactions like PhonePe or Paytm, would fall within the category of TIUE. In fact, even departmental stores that collect your number to give you loyalty points would fall within the scope of TIUE. These TIUEs have a range of requirements that they must comply with. These include submitting data related to the telecommunication identifiers that they use to the government. The government can ask them to create designated points to submit this data so that they can analyze it there. The government can also ask TIUEs to stop using specific telecommunication identifiers for the purpose of user identification, be it for a specific time period or permanently. The first and probably the most important question that emerges from the inclusion of this new category within the cybersecurity rules is, do TIUAs even fall within the scope of the Parent Act, the Telecommunication Act? To understand this, we need to turn to the definition of message under the Telecom Act, which includes any signal, sign, writing, text, image, sound, video, data stream, intelligence, or information sent through telecommunication services. When the act came out, many had expressed concern that this definition is very broad and it can include digital communication platforms, it can include services like email. But at the time, the communication minister, Ashwini Vaishnav, had sought to relieve these concerns by stating in a conversation with the Economic Times that digital platforms are not within the scope of the Telecom Act, but rather under the scope of the IT Act, and that they will continue to be under the scope of the IT Act even after the Telecom Act comes into place. This statement, though, was not on the floor of the parliament, so it is unclear whether it actually represents the defined scope of the act. However, even if we go by the fact that digital platforms or services like email do actually fall within the scope of the definition of message within the Telecom Act, this definition does not necessarily include services like a departmental store or a fintech platform. So, whether these services are included still remains questionable. Questions and concerns about the draft amendment don't stop there, though. The amendment introduces a mobile number validation platform where TIUEs can put in requests to verify mobile numbers. The platform relies on registries of licensed telecom entities to verify numbers, and it charges private entities that request such verification activities. TIUEs can voluntarily verify customers if they want to, but in certain cases, the government can even direct them to verify their customers. This platform raises its own range of concerns. For instance, what is the intent behind this platform and what is the harm that the government is looking to regulate with this service? In the recent past, we've seen a lot of action from the government around curbing scams. And as such, one could theorize that this mobile number validation service could help platforms preemptively catch scammers and prevent them from accessing specific services. Let's say that the government could ask a fintech platform like Paytm to verify numbers before it registers them on its service using the mobile number validation platform. The idea could be to prevent scams, like we previously mentioned. But then this raises the question, would regulating how such services verify their users even fall within the scope of the DoT's jurisdiction? Would it not be the responsibility of, let's say, the financial regulator? Further, one could argue that such services already have KYC processes in place, which ensure that they accurately identify customers, which means that the mobile number validation platform could end up being rendered unnecessary in terms of identifying the user. The second major set of questions that one must ask about this platform is who gets to verify users and what will they learn about the users. The amendment does not mention exactly what information the platform will give a TIUE when it requests validation of a specific number. This leaves one wondering whether this service would be a privacy preserving mechanism, like a ping back system where the TIUE would just get to know the person who claims to hold the number is telling the truth, or whether it would give them some basic details about the individual from the data that telecom companies collect about their customers, such as the person's name, date of birth, location, etc. Depending on the type of information the platform provides TIUEs, one has to wonder whether this adversely affects the privacy of the person in question vis-a-vis the TIUE. Should every single business you give your number to be allowed to get access to a lot of information about you? There is a need for a specific criteria to determine who has access to this service, and the government may also need to elaborate on the details of what they will disclose TIUEs in response to verification requests. Given that the amendment is still in a draft stage, things could change and we could get clarity about the concerns and the government's rationale about the draft amendment. However, this will probably come based on the questions and concerns that stakeholders submit to the government in response to the draft. If you want to read a comprehensive breakdown of the draft amendment and hear how lawyers dealing with tech and telecom understand this issue, you can take a look at our website. Thank you.